Hey everybody, Stu Smith here going live. Happy Monday. If it's Monday, we're doing a live Q&A here at Stu Smith Fitness. Ready to take your questions whenever you have them. I'm going a little bit early today because I got to leave a little bit early. So let's start off. So it's been a big week. Last week, we are now done with that project of Never Quit Mindset program. Check it out. It's up on Stu Smith Fitness now. I also have it up on Amazon as a printed book, an ebook, a Kindle, as well as a audio book. So check it out. Let me know what you think. It's pretty much 25 years of coaching, as well as another 15 years of personally training and serving and trying to figure out what it takes to have a never quit mindset. And it's hard to verbalize. I was able to get it on paper and what I think it means to have a little more mental toughness, physical toughness, for any type of goal or life's challenges that you're about to have. So I'm not trying to create the toughest man in the world. That's not what I do. But I'm trying to make you a little bit more resilient, handle stress better, accomplish goals, not be scared of failure. Those are the things that this program's all about. I think it's for young and old. In fact, a lot of my folks I sent it to review for me have said they just sent it to their grandkids or their kids and said this is mandatory reading. So we shall see. um, so what's new with you guys? You guys give me some questions, and I won't waste your time with a whole lot of introductory fluff, and we can go right into taking questions. I did have a couple of questions I wanted to answer. Um, this is one that I just created an article on, and it is Ask Stu about muscle stamina. So, more training volume versus more recovery. I'm, at a plateau, what do you think I need? And there's no one answer on this one. It's going to depend on, how you are actually recovering. Are you really overdoing it, or are you just not recovering well? And what that means is, are you fueling yourself properly before and after workouts? So, nutrition. Are you sleeping well each night? So, sleep. Those are number one and number two of your recovery process. If those aren't in sync, your recovery is not in sync. So you could be experiencing overtraining symptoms that are actually just under recovery symptoms. Same thing. Um, and it has nothing to do with your recovery. Or, sorry, has nothing to do with your actual training process. So, what do you need to do? Do you need more reps, higher volume to get better, or do you need less? It depends. Sometimes people come at me with this question, um, and they're doing daily push pull upper bodies, right? And they wonder why they're seeing negative results, a plateau, or elbow tendonitis. There's a reason for that. You're not recovering, you're doing too many reps, too many days. And if your volume is getting up there, you need to treat it just as you would if you're lifting weights. Like high volume calisthenics needs the same amount of recovery as lifting weights does. So that means your upper body, lower body split routines work pretty well. If you want to do a push pull leg routine, that works really well, especially if you're going high volume calisthenics. In fact, we do that in the spring and summer as we're progressing our numbers. And here's the problem: volume is relative. So what may be high volume to one person may be somebody else's warm up, right? I mean, we do a 1 to 10 half pyramid warm up before we even start doing reps. So we'll do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 with some jogs in between of pull ups and push ups. So you get 55 reps right there just in your warm up. And then we'll do a workout that has 100 plus pull ups in it, a couple hundred push ups, some kind of ab, hanging knee ups, plank pose, fireman carries. Sometimes we'll mix it with like Murph reps. So we're doing another 300 squats. So that's, I would consider that high volume, right, for the average person. Once you get into a very advanced stage in your training, you can, I mean, we've warmed up with a Murph before and did harder workouts after. So, once again, it's all relative. If you're new to this, I would say cut the Murph in half, and that's kind of your goal. Let's say if you can do 10 pull ups, multiply your max rep by 5, and that's how many reps would be sufficient in a workout. So that means you could do 50 pull ups in a workout and not overdo it. If you want to overdo it or push yourself to new levels, that's okay some days. I wouldn't do it every day that you're doing upper body. Try to do 7, 8, 9, 10 sets of 10 pull ups if you can, right? So that'd be, or do a pyramid of like make it 19 sets where you're going up to 10 and then back down to 1. That's 100 pull ups exactly. So it really kind of depends on where you are in your training cycle, what your max reps are, what your normal volume per week is. Are you doing 3 upper body days a week or just 2? Sometimes I have pulled people back. I said, instead of doing 3, let's drop to 2 for a couple of weeks and let you kind of recover a little bit and see what happens. And then after 2 weeks and then a 2-day off, we test, and they've only done 4 upper body days in 2 weeks, and then a test on 2 days later on that Saturday, end of the week, and now they're off that plateau. So you can get off a plateau by doing more reps, changing it up, doing less reps, less sets. But it all requires recovery. So that's the question of the week. It's going to be an article today. Can't do without recovery. If you're doing 5 days a week of push ups, pull ups, stop, you're just going to wind up hurting yourself or seeing flat results. You may see good results in the first couple of weeks, maybe even a month, but after that, it flattens out hard. Just go back to every other day maximum, 2 days a week minimum. Anyway, so that's an article that's going out this week. It'll be up on military.com. Let's see. Everybody asks this questions. How many miles should I run a week to prepare for buds? I want you to ask that question. In fact, I want you to ask this specific question. Stu Smith, how many miles I should run a week to prepare for buds, and put it into the Google machine and see what comes out. I have an article ready for you to read. I was in moderate firefighter shape and then severely sprained my ankle, lost all my shape. Ugh, that sucks. 3 months. Now I'm rebuilding and it's super hard just after injury. Tips for post-injury. Yeah, I actually have an article on this too, but here's the thing. Treat yourself like a beginner. Don't start off where you left off thinking you can. Don't start off with a favorite workout. When you're in moderate firefighter shape, start off like a beginner. Your goal right now is really to reestablish old habits, not get back in shape in a week, because it's not going to happen. If you take 3 months off, it's going to take you at least 6 to 8 weeks to get back in shape. And if you're older like me, it's probably going to take you a 1-to-1 ratio of at least 3 months getting back in shape. So treat yourself like a beginner. Get a beginner plan. In fact, I have a program called Tactical Fitness Over 40. And the title is, if you go to Stu Smith Fitness and look in the Tactical Fitness series section, you'll see an article, or sorry, you'll see a website store. In that store, Tactical Fitness 40 Plus Foundation Rebuilding for Beginners or Recovering from Injury. I would start there. And it may be too easy for you, but like I said, your goal isn't to get back in shape in a week. It is to reestablish these habits that you have dropped, and that is harder than getting back into shape. If you're trying to do both at the same time, it's very frustrating. So that's how I do it. So check out Tactical Fitness 40 Plus Foundation Rebuilding, because you're rebuilding that foundation. And every exercise you learned in physical therapy for this ankle, save it for your leg days or mobility days too. You should be adding those exercises every time you work legs or you're doing a mobility day. It works. Yep. Only 31, but I'm telling you, even though it's Tactical Fitness Over 40, 30-year-olds are doing it. It's not really over 40. I wrote it when I was 45, trying to appeal to the audience that has been with me for 20 years. And, many of them were, teenagers and, 20-year-olds and over 30 when I wrote that program. And it introduces Mobility Day, and I highly recommend adding Mobility Day to your life because I promise you, to the person, it is life-changing. Everybody that I talked to after doing Mobility Day, they thought, I'm not going to do Mobility Day. This is stupid. Every one of them, when they did it, they're like, man, that was awesome. You feel good after a workout. You're not hurting. You feel like you did something. I mean, those things are, feeling that way is invaluable. All right. Let's see. Got a couple of questions over here on YouTube. And by the way, if you miss it over here on Instagram, I'll probably repost it up on Instagram today, but all these are on YouTube channel as well. Okay. How to learn everything about fitness program tactically, like wherein a person can lift heavy and run and ruck and having aesthetically pleasing physique. Well, that's an interesting question. I'm still learning about it. I have been working out for 43 years now, trying to learn how to train to get stronger, to get faster, to have more endurance, to get flexible, have some mobility, some speed and agility. But, programs like this are really helpful with that. Seasonal, tactical fitness periodization. It teaches you what tactical fitness is, and it is a process, or my seasonal tactical fitness periodization is a system that I use to create people who have strength, power, speed, agility, flexibility, mobility, muscle stamina, endurance, grip, and able to mitigate stress well with nutrition, with recovery elements of nutrition and sleep, and flexibility, mobility help with that. But if you read my tactical fitness articles, that's a place to start. In fact, I'll put it right up here. Seasonal tactical fitness periodization. Why is it important? I would suggest starting here, and then you'll see all the stuff I've created around that system. I have been personally using that system since I was 30 when I created it. and that was 25 years ago. And is the system that I teach young people now, not just old people. What's going on here? Um, that's where I would start. 35-minute bike Tabata, 80-85% heart rate max. That's good. Low end 160, 175 after an hour rest, 40 minutes cardio, then 6 hours later powerlifting. I do this 3 times per week. I think that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. I think that's a great way to have endurance and has some strength. But I will say this: flip it around every now and then. If you really want to focus on your strength and do that first. You may find that um, you it's hard to improve both. You can maintain both really well, but if you really want to improve both, what this system teaches you is to do more lifting in the winter, is where we do it, and a little less cardio. You're still doing cardio to kind of maintain it, but it's not your goal. Your primary goal is to get stronger. Your secondary goal is to maintain your cardio and muscle stamina. Flip that around in the summer, it's upside down. Your primary goal is to get more endurance and muscle stamina, and your secondary goal is to maintain your strength. If you're trying to improve one or the other, if you're trying to just maintain them with incremental improvements, you can do it your way. And that's not a wrong way. It just depends on your goals. Some people want to turn a weakness into a strength. So they need to focus specifically on that weakness. That's what this is for. But yeah, I mean, there's great ways to mix both of them together. You've been doing it, for a while, as personally myself. So you can do that. On the other days, I do an hour and a half steady state, 150 beats per minute. That's good. Powerlifting in evening is good enough, or should I keep adding cardio? It just depends. Depends on your goals. Are you trying to get really good at cardio? How good are you trying to get at cardio? You trying to run a marathon? Trying to get fast at a 400-meter sprint? I don't know. Are you trying to get tactically fit for your job? Does it make sense doing what you're doing? Maybe you should add rucking in there. I don't know. Also thinking of breaking the world record for pulling the maximum weight in pull-ups. Any suggestions? No. I don't have any suggestions for that. I really don't. I mean, you got to get really strong if you're going to pull the maximum weight in pull-ups, and you got to watch out for your tendons, because I can't tell you how many times I've seen big guys, 220-pound guys, put on 100 pounds on a weight belt, crank out a pull-up, and blow their bicep tendons. Then they need surgery, and now you're in for a huge recovery process. So I'm not for that, but you do you, and talk to some strong men. It's not my world. Advice for a deload week. I like this though. Yeah, I got a couple of different things. You can, in fact, I wrote an article on it. Google it. You'll see some more details in it, but briefly during this live Q&A, you do it this way. You can decrease the intensity, cut the mileage in half, cut the reps in half, still do your normal workout, just fewer sets and reps. That's a deload. Something I like to do is every other day do a mobility day. So you do your normal workout on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, doing mobility days. That's a deload. But I don't like, some deloads I've done 6 days a week of mobility days, and that was something I felt like I really needed. I was kind of burned out, burning the candle at both ends, staying up late, finishing projects for work and working out early in the morning, just tired, and did a whole week of mobility days, and that was just what the doctor ordered. Felt loose, felt good, not stressed, all low impact cardio, low heart rate cardio. I was parasympathetic mode the entire time, and it was awesome. So that's another great way to do it. Just depends on how much recovery you really need. Arthur says, I'm doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 hour swim, CSS, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, strength and conditioning weight room, Sunday rest. Is this good? That's good. Um, I mean, you need to run too. Probably need to ruck. So why don't you just get on a program that actually prepares you for the IFT? Got one of those. Go to Stu Smith Fitness, you'll see it. Specifically focus on your IFT. If you really want to crush the IFT or the PST, why not make your workouts look a little bit more like the IFT? And that means the order of the IFT. That means sets and reps of those exercises, of the calisthenics. You're going to run afterwards. You're going to swim after that. So get used to training like you're doing an IFT. Doesn't have to be every day. Obviously, upper body days are going to be your Monday, Wednesday, Friday if you want, and then your lower body days can be, the days in between. You do an all cardio day on one of the days if you'd like. Throw in a mobility day in there and work pool skills, because that's good. You're going to be needing to know how to tread, and hips, knees, and ankles are usually the biggest culprit for helping people um, tread better. So, there's more to the IFT than just lifting weights and doing the CSS. Got to run, got to do calisthenics, got to swim. Yeah, get good at it. How long should I train for EOD if I'm not a strong runner or swimmer? Basically, can hit the minimums. That's it. Until you can hit the maximums. Not everybody's going to be the same. If you're hitting the minimums now, you don't have a very strong athletic foundation to rely on. You got to kind of build that. That may require a cycle of lifting just to have some strong strength durability, then a cycle of focusing on the PST so you get accepted into the training. Swimming with fins, lots of treading. There's pool skills that you're going to need to master, get comfortable in the water. So I usually, PJs and EOD guys, I'm usually having those guys in the pool 5-6 days a week. If they're not working on swimming with fins on leg days or upper body days, they're doing swim conditioning for their 500. On mobility days, they're doing pool skills. You're resting with treading. All those little hard things that people don't think are that hard until you start doing it. A lot of people blow off treading because they think it's easy. And then all of a sudden, they do treading with no hands for 5 minutes and wonder why they're about to drown. Best running shoes, somebody says, the ones that fit you best and work for what you're trying to do. You're trying to run trails, you need a special type of shoe. You're running the track, special type of shoe. I've probably, in my 43 years of training, have gone through 20 different brands of shoes to find the ones I like. And I've actually written an article with a person who's a D1 track runner, and she now owns a shoe store. What am I trying to pick out here? Favorite shoes, running shoes. Let me see if Google can find it with a Professional explains how to pick running shoes. How about that? It's amazing what the Google machine can come up. So check out this article over there on Instagram. Um, it's a really good article and asking someone who actually knows about running shoes. Something I learned in that article. Check out this article over here on YouTube. Um, is that every few years, your running shoe company that you love and the brand that you have searched years to find changes things. And all of a sudden, your Brooks don't fit the way they used to, or your Nikes or your Hokas, whatever. Um, I have found that I enjoy the On Cloud now and have been running in those for probably the last 3 years, winter and summer. One thing I like about them for the winter one is they offer a waterproof version, which that's something special. Let me tell you. When you start off, you're running in the dark, 6 in the morning, cold, and then you step in a puddle and you're sitting there waiting for it to go through the shoe, go through the sock, and now you have a wet foot in 30-degree water, 30-degree air. That sucks. Makes you a little tougher though. But with waterproof shoes, you don't have to engage that mental toughness because it doesn't get your feet wet. That's a win in my book. It's a good question though. What kind of terrain are you running on? My physical therapist made a huge difference in what I wear. Oh, you're not talking to me. But I will say this: we run on multiple types of terrain. We run on a paved trail that also has a gravel trail, dirt trail option, so you can make it a little softer. We run on a rubberized track. We run on a hill, and we run on soft sand. Um, so mix it up. Mix it up. Best way to balance training for D1 as well as prepping for the SEAL screener at USNA. Um, Good question. That's a tough one, my friend. And um, my advice is this: I played rugby at the Naval Academy, and was also trying to get prepared for the SEAL screeners and what we called SOAS back then. We called mini buds. And for buds as well. Once we got billets, I still played rugby for one of the semesters and didn't play my last semester just because I was always injured. And what we did was we would wake up in the morning and do our calisthenics and timed run events, right? First thing in the morning. And then you go to school all day, you go to practice in the afternoon, and it makes a difference if you're in season or out of season as well. So you can add more stuff when you're out of season. And then you go swimming at the end of the day, right before dinner, if you can squeeze it in, or you can go during lunch and swim. Um, and it doesn't have to be a crazy swim, 20 minutes, do some 50-50s in there, get your swim times solid, because the one thing that's going to matter for you really is getting that 500 fast. And then on days you just don't feel it, but you got to go to the pool anyway, instead of worrying about a hard workout, do pool skills. So you're working on your treading, you're working on your ditch and dons, just stuff that gets you in the water, makes your joints a little looser, and you're working pool skills instead of conditioning. So that's how I would do it. I think I've written about it as well. I think it's under time management um, article that I did for military.com, preparing for spec ops in college as well. Best way to prepare for USNA, and you already asked that question. Let's see, how to figure out nutrition and diet, trying to cut down for EOD job, but seem to maintain more because I'm super hungry after training, struggling to know how to cut and train for EOD. Yeah, that's a tough one. If you're young, you can outwork your diet. But here's the problem. If you're doing a lot of swimming, that makes you hungry. It's just a natural phenomenon that taps into something in your brain that triggers hunger every time you swim. That's why you got out of the pool as a kid and just chowed down. Still happens. So, I mean, I don't have a lot of advice for you other than you just have to burn more calories than you're eating. Try to eat more foods, when you're working out instead of going into a workout, you know, fasted or hungry. That's when you can eat your carbs, eat your fruits, eat your vegetables, um, have something with some sugar in it, just because you need that immediate source of energy for higher intense workouts. Then, when you're done, you gain your protein so you don't lose a lot of muscle mass, and you get your carbohydrates to replenish so you can do it tomorrow. But it's really, be honest with you, it's about portion control. For most of us, if you're trying to lose weight, it's purely portion control and selecting foods high in fiber just so you get a little more full, versus any processed foods that just aren't going to help you very much. I hope that helps. I do have some nutrition advice in articles that may be helpful for you just with food choices, but in the end, it comes down to good food choices, smaller portions, harder workouts, or burning calories throughout the day. And that it doesn't have to be harder. It could just be you're adding a 40-minute walk at the end of the day just to burn another couple hundred calories. Um, let's see here. Also, how to keep consistency with working out. Ooh, if I had that answer, man, might be on a I don't know, might be on a different media source right now. Um, when we are in a stressful situation in life, like skipping workout because of stress or anticipated stressful event. My advice is this: is we always have a choice to go work out or skip it every day. And let me tell you, even a guy who has been working out for 43 years in the morning very consistently. I can't think of a section of my life where I wasn't training since I was 13 years old. Maybe missed a couple because I was sick or something. um, but even me, after 43 years of a consistent, disciplined training life, I wake up in the morning and there's that little voice that says, "What are you doing? Stay in bed. It's comfortable." Right? In fact, this morning I was up late last night visiting with a buddy, um, and didn't get to bed till like 11 o'clock. Woke up at 5 o'clock. Just wasn't feeling it. But you know what? I wound up doing the whole workout anyway. Got in 5.5 miles of running to the hill and back, and um, got it done. Um, and stressful events happen. My dad had a stroke this summer. My writing projects. My daughter had a wedding we planned all year for last year. Stress is stress. You're not going to get better at it, but I will promise you this: you will always feel worse skipping your workout than doing it. And my advice is this: do the warm up and then see how you feel. Okay, that'll usually tell you at the end of that warm up, you can be like, oh, okay, thanks. I'm snapped out of that funk and now I'm ready to roll. Or you may still be in the funk, right? And you really need to recover. Replace that current workout with a mobility day, and that works. You're going to feel better after doing that versus skipping it. Promise you. Coach Dean, Stu is bang on here. So much to go through. Yes. Um, yeah, we talking about the diet, weight loss stuff because yeah, that's books worth of information that I'm trying to spit out in a minute per question. Um, Sorry if this has been out asked countless times. I'm 24, getting back into shape for infantry officers. Any books of yours to recommend? Just a typical calisthenic cycle. Um, no, I would go with like I have an army. It's called the Army PFT workout, but it's actually the CFT workout. I just didn't change the cover of it. It has been updated over the years. Before there was a CFT, there was the PFT, and they're still used. It's a calisthenics, push ups, sit ups, 2 mile run. It is still used in the Army in places. They'll add pull ups to it in some tests. However, the ACFT is the universal test, which is also part of what you need to prepare for. And I like that one primarily because there's lifting in it, and you need to have some form of lifting foundation, strength foundation, when you are going infantry, preparing for lots of rucking and load bearing activities. That is the life of a grunt. So, if you're doing infantry officer school for the Marine Corps, it's very similar. But I do have an OCS TBS workout program that people have used for the infantry officer course as well. They just turn some of the runs into rucks because you will be rucking your ass off in that test. But the Army Special Forces program is a really good one. Army Ranger SF program is a really good one for infantry officers going Marine Corps because that infantry officer school is no joke. I mean, people, that's a tough one. So you definitely want to prepare for that one. I have a seasonal job coming up where I deliver ice in a semi. I have about 12 stops per day, every stop, which is physical, throwing around 40-pound ice bags. I do max set of push ups, flutter kicks. What should I add? Um, I mean, you got to get your job done. So my advice is just do your job. And, if you want to do something, do some chest carry lunges and some shoulder carry squats. If you're really hurting for a workout, do that. Or just save your workout for before you go to work, get your workout done, do your job, or do your job, get your workout done after. It's up to you. I personally have always gone before work or school just to get that part of my workout done. And if there were things I needed to add, like swimming or rucking or something like that, I did that later in the afternoon. Something I didn't have to think about much because you're kind of brain dead after a long day of school or work or both. So, yeah, give that a shot. Um, how do I get more pull ups? Only able to get 4 reps in the IFT for Spec War. Can't seem to get any more. Any tips? Well, my advice is I probably need to see you do pull ups and know your height and body weight because if that's heavy, the lighter you are, the more pull ups you're going to do. But where you are right now, you've gotten through the strength barrier. Your first, second, third pull up is really a strength exercise. 4 through 20 is a muscle stamina exercise. So get in more reps. You might have to do a lot of sets, kind of like burnout sets a little bit, where do as many pull-ups as you can. When you fail at pull-ups, go to pull downs, go to rows, go to bicep curls, work those pulling muscles because you're trying to develop muscle stamina. You have strength. Now let's put some muscle stamina on top of it. Next thing you know, you're double-digit pull-ups. But you can't do it every day. You got to recover at least a day, 2 days before you do them again. Yeah, if you're 5'8", 223, that's a big pull up. You got some weight to lose, and that's going to help you with your pull ups. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, a couple more questions. I got to go. Started calisthenics, struggling with the squats at the moment. All I have really tight Achilles tendons, making the lean forward tough. Should I focus on stretching more before during the squats, or can I do squats and stretching until I get better? I don't want to injure myself. Yeah, be gentle with it. Slowly stretch that Achilles, your calf muscles. Do it two ways. You want to stretch with your knees straight, and you want to stretch with your knees slightly bent. That's going to work those tendons and those muscles in the calf, both of them in there. So, but just be gentle with it. Make sure you're foam rolling, massaging, stretching. Um, do a mobility day where you focus on from everything from your toes to your knees, like front side, back side. You also want to work your hamstrings and thighs and all that too. But um, yeah, if you need to at first, maybe put your heels on like a 1 inch lift, like put two plates down there and do your squats with your heels raised. That may help you as you start building some reps into your air squats. But then you're going to want to remove that and keep working on that flexibility, ankle flexibility, and heel flexibility, calves. Bought your Never Quit mindset yesterday. Hey, thanks. I'm glad you like it. It's got a lot in there. I think it's going to be very helpful. Anonymous gentleman says, please save this live session. I will save it. I will put it up on Instagram, and it will be up on this YouTube probably about 30 minutes after the show. So you'll see it, and with all these questions and answers in it as well. Let's see. I know a couple of SEALs who are Christians. Do you think that Christian faith plays a role in discipline? I guess it could. I've seen disciplined people that aren't Christians, so I think it can help, but I don't think it's necessary. What good is a SEAL if he isn't guided by God's righteousness? Hey, whatever. It's a free country. You can worship whoever you want. If you really want to serve the country and America's freedoms, do you want to make everybody be Christians? Doesn't sound like freedom to me. We got another question. How many miles a week should you run to prepare for buds? Everybody in here has heard that question twice a day for every live. So I want you to Google it because I've written answers about it. Put that question into the Google machine with my name in it, and you'll see my answer. What part of Maryland am I in? I'm in Severna Park, Maryland, right outside of Annapolis. That is very true. All right, guys, I got to go. I got stuff to do. I appreciate your time. You guys go check out StuSmithFitness.com. Save 15%, live15 coupon code. If you haven't seen the new program, I'm so excited. You guys will see it here. It is the Never Quit mindset right there. Unlock the hidden. There you go. Try to make it a little smaller for you so you can see it. That's not helping. Yeah, the Never Quit mindset. Unlock the hidden mental and physical toughness inside us all. And yeah, it's a good one. You can still save money on it too with the live15 coupon code. In fact, I think I even have a sale for this first week in it as well. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate you guys letting me be your coach and you guys asking me questions. And if I'm short with you, I don't mean to be. I'm just trying to get as many questions as I can in this 45-minute show. And but if you want a longer answer, just email me, stu@stewsmith.com. I will answer your question, put in links to you, to further answer that question. Yeah. So you guys have a good one, and I will chat with you tomorrow. We'll do a live Q&A again, along with some CSS critiques. Until then, catch you later.